What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another episode of Club and Country. This is episode number 118, I do believe, and today we start the episode off with a U-Score monthly report and also seeing that Blanca wants to play in the upcoming game against Ajax, which is the first one of today's episode. But before that, we have a squad report so you can see how the players are currently doing. Obviously, right now, we started the season really brightly. We're still undefeated. We won the Spanish Super Cup. I'm not sure what it's actually called, Super Copa España, something like that, which is really nice. We've had a really good start to the league so far as well. Champions League, one game, one win so far. So a really bright, really encouraging start. Really liking that so far. And the squad looks pretty good as well. Everyone seems to be pretty happy. And the form for most of the players seems okay at the worst, which is really good. Rodriguez and Morata have both had really good starts to the season. And this is exactly what we needed, to be honest. This is exactly what we needed. Last year we won La Liga for the first time ever with Racing Santander. And as I've said a couple of times already, I want to do it again this year as well. I want to have back-to-back championships with this Racing Santander side. And I was a little bit fearful coming into the start of the season, only making one signing in the summer transfer window for the first 11, which was David De Gea, that we wouldn't really be making too much progression, or we might be struggling early on. But as you can see, 7 games into La Liga, 6 wins, 1 draw, 0 defeats so far, 20 goals scored, leaders in that category, fewest goals conceded in the league as well. We are top of the table. Valencia are in second place with the same amount of points as us with 19. So a really good start to the season so far. As you can see as well, Champions League group right now, Chelsea won their opening game against Ajax. We won our opening game against Galatasaray. So really encouraging start on both of those competitions. The players are looking really happy. It really has been a perfect beginning to the season. We do take on Ajax for the first game of today's episode in the Champions League group stage, match day 2. Our first Champions League game of the season, El Sardinero as well. So fancying our chances, to be honest, because although this is a really tough group, Chelsea thrashed Ajax in match day 1. So coming into this game, I was really fancying our chances of getting another win. But of course, Ajax will do very well in career mode due to having so many good young talents that develop really well in the game. And the first chance would fall in the 10th minute here to Ajax as Klaasen's on the ball for them, and he takes around his man. Eventually, the ball goes down the right-hand side. The cross comes into the centre. Victor Fischer wins the header, but it ends up hitting the bar and eventually goes behind for a goal kick. So good chance there for Ajax to take the lead, but thankfully Fischer ends up hitting the woodwork and it's still 0-0. In the 20th minute, another good chance for Ajax though, as Fischer's on the ball again, trying to cause some danger here. He picks out his teammate and De Gea makes a good stop and keeps it at 0-0. So the first couple of chances coming to Ajax here, trying to put the disappointment of match day 1 behind them and get a really good result in this game. But it was still goalless. In the 37th minute though, we had our first chance of the game as Aguza finds Christian Portu. He turns his man, plays it inside towards Morata, holds it up and finds Rodriguez, but he's denied by a very good save by Van der Hart, and Ajax cleared the ball away. So still 0-0 going into the break, and just a couple of minutes after the break here, we had another good chance. Rana Delgado, who just came off the bench at half-time, takes it around his man with a quick little step over, then a ball roll, then finds Jesse Rodriguez, cuts past his man and shoots, but as you can see, he can't hit the target, and it goes harmlessly behind for a goal kick. So still 0-0 in this game, 48 minutes in. Had to wait until the 76th minute for another chance here as Delgado off the bench gets the ball over the halfway line and plays it back towards Christian Portu. Our midfielder finds Ranieri Aguza. Aguza plays that wide towards David Concha. He also came off the bench. He finds our third substitute, Tunkara, who shoots, but he puts the ball wide of the post and behind for a goal kick. So still 0-0. Ajax had the early chances in this game, but after that it was mainly about us having the opportunities but just not taking them. In the 85th minute, David De Gea did make a good save to deny Zivkovic from this free kick, and it was also how the game would finish. Racing Santander 0, Ajax 0. So a disappointing goalless draw, to be honest. I was hoping for a bit more action than what was shown. There were a few good chances for both sides, but for the most part, I think a 0-0 draw was probably the fair result. A 1-1 draw might have been, fairer. I think that we could have at least got a goal from the game, but even so, a 0-0 draw. And it certainly isn't a bad result. As I said, Ajax are a really good side in Korea. They've got a lot of young talent, and we'll take a draw. At least it means that the unbeaten start to the season continues, and there you go. And following that, Carlos Blanco and Grimaldo both came to us asking for new contracts. Grimaldo has been put on the transfer list as well, as his agent came to the board and said, why has my player not got a new contract, etc, etc, etc. So he's been put on the transfer list, and we'll offer him a contract soon just to try and get him off there. It's not really a big deal because he's obviously, we're not in a transfer window right now, and he's under contract for another couple of years, so we can still choose not to sell him if we want to do so, but it's best to just try and keep the player happy, I guess, if we've got the money. So I guess in a couple of as soon as possible, we'll try and offer him a contract and get him a little bit happier. Still, we take on Espanyol for the second game of today's episode here, the second of 3 games, so a good chance here as we return back to La Liga to get ourselves another win under our belt. Of course, our last league game finished as a 5-0 victory against Osasuna, so coming into this game was definitely fancying our chances, and the first chance did fall in the 17th minute as Morata turns his man and sprints down the centre. He has enough pace, Morata, to keep on going, holds off a challenge and shoots, and also scores as well, and makes it Espanyol 0, Racing Santander 1. Of course, Morata, don't forget, could have been leaving in the summer transfer window. There were a couple of offers for the guy, a lot of interest for our striker, but I don't want to sell the guy. I know he was a little bit inconsistent last year in his debut season for us, but he came alive towards the end of the season after Perez got injured and scored us a few crucial goals, and he's got off to a really good start this season as well. That's already his 5th goal in La Liga now coming into his 8th game, and it's Espanyol 0, Racing Santander 1. In the 36th minute, though, Espanyol had a great chance to equalise as Montanes is on the ball and shoots, but David De Gea makes a smart stop at his near post and turns it behind for a corner. So good save there, and it's still 1-0. And in the 42nd minute here, Rodriguez is on the ball for us, finds the goal scorer Morata. Morata tries to turn Alvaro. He shoots with a weaker left foot, but puts the ball just off target and behind for a goal kick. So still 1-0 to Racing Santander going into the break. And in the 65th minute here, you see Torres win this header and find Isco. Isco plays it through to Morata, and another great chance for Alvaro Morata to make it 2-0. He goes through one-on-one and this time keeps his composure, slots the ball past the goalkeeper, puts it into the back of the net. It's now his 6th goal in 8 games in La Liga, and it's Espanyol 0, Racing Santander 2. And he did have an inconsistent run last year. I know I was saying about him last year being a really big player for us, and he did miss a lot of chances. He didn't live up to the hype, I guess, but I do predict this year is going to be a lot better. So 2-0 to Racing Santander, both goals coming through Morata. In the 78th minute, Espanyol had a great chance to get themselves back in the game as they swing in the cross towards Fivi in the centre, and his header ends up hitting the bar and going behind for a goal kick. So good chance there to get themselves back in the game, but the header does hit the woodwork and go behind. So still 2-0. And then the 81st minute here, one of the final chances fell as Rodriguez turned his man down the right-hand side, showed his pace, kept on going, then a quick little step over, puts his man on the floor and shoots, but the goalkeeper Kenneth Amir makes a good stop and Espanyol clear. And that was also how the game would finish as well. Unfortunately, I pressed X a little bit too quickly as the ball went out for a throw in there, so that's why you didn't get to see the players walk off the pitch, so that's my fault for that, sorry about that. But yeah, we won the game by 2-0, and another good victory is notched up for us. And following out, we saw Grimaldo's contract. I decided to offer him one because we don't have to. As I mentioned, he's got 2 years and 9 months left, so even though he's on the transfer list, he doesn't have to leave the club in these upcoming transfer windows. But I just thought, you know what, it's best to just try and keep him happy. However, he did decide to turn down his contract extension and says he's not sure he wants to commit himself to that contract extension. So he wanted a new contract, he wanted an increased salary. I gave it to him, but he says no. So I guess we'll offer him a better contract in the upcoming weeks, and we'll wait and see what he says the second time of asking. Again, it's not really a big deal anyway, but there you go. And we have a couple of international friendlies with Spain after that. The first one was against Bulgaria, which we won, and the second one was against Australia, which, as you'll see, we actually ended up losing for the first time as Spain manager. But of course, these are international friendlies, we don't really care, we're going to simulate them anyway. Of course, with this club and country aspect, with the country aspect of this series, we will be playing international games with Spain, as we've been playing the qualifiers, and we'll play the tournaments as well, of course, but the friendlies will always get simulated just because I don't really see the point in playing them. And there you go. So we beat Bulgaria, but then we lost to Australia, surprisingly enough. But there you go. I took all the Racing Santander players other than David De Gea out of that game against Australia, so they'll be fully fit for this game against Barcelona. So clearly it shows the importance of having those club players playing for the country. But even so, we take on Barcelona, 43rd and final game of today's episode here, an early big game against the side who ran us closest to the Liga title last season. As you can see, they're sitting in 3rd place. We are still top of the table as they travel to take us on here at El Sardinero. So fancying our chances with the form we've been in so far this season. We've only slipped up twice in terms of draws in La Liga and the Champions League as well. Every other game has been a win, so I was definitely fancying our chances of at least getting a point in this game. And the first chance did fall to us in the 14th minute. Alvaro Morata, the man in form right now, goes through and shoots, but Ter Stegen makes a good stop, and eventually Barcelona clear the ball away. So first chance coming to us with a German goalkeeper making a good save, so still 0-0. In the 30th minute, a great chance for Barcelona to take the lead. Sergio Roberto strikes it, but David De Gea makes a good stop, and we get the ball away. So both De Gea and Ter Stegen making early saves and keeping it goalless. In the 34th minute, though, Jordi Alba gets into some trouble here and gets tackled by Morata. Morata wins the ball back, plays it inside towards Isco, who shoots, and the former Real Madrid man puts it just off target and behind. So still 0-0 going into the break, and 12 minutes after the restart here, Isco's on the ball for us and turns his man and finds young Han Elise. Elise keeps hold of the ball, plays it through towards Morata. Morata turns Mascherano and shoots, but again, Ter Stegen is equal to the shot, and Barcelona clear. So still 0-0 in this game. With 20 minutes to go, it was still goalless, and as Neymar finds Montoya here, Barcelona go down the right-hand side. The Brazilian Messi, and Neymar keeps on going, swings it across to the far post, and Pedro's header hits the bar, and thankfully for us, bounces on the goal line, but not over it, and it's still goalless. So a real escape there as we get the ball away after Pedro's header hits the bar and was eventually cleared as the ball hit the line and didn't go over it. So still 0-0 in this game, and the final chance felt in stoppage time here as Concha Salas off the bench is on the ball. He rides a slide challenge, goes down the right hand side, swings the cross in, and in stoppage time, Alvaro Morata makes it 3 goals in 2 games and makes it Racing Santander 1, Barcelona 0. So a big goal by the former Juventus and Real Madrid man. It's 1-0 to Racing Santander, and we are surely going to get the 3 points now. So a really big game early on against the side that ran us closest to the Liga title last year. And in stoppage time, you know, I've said that Morata, I feel like he is going to have a big season this year. That's now his 7th goal even in 9 games. What a start to the season he's had. And it's Racing 1, Barcelona 0 as we claim a huge 3 points here early on in the season. So final score, Racing 1, Barcelona 0. Delighted to win in what could prove to be an early title clash, and getting the job there and keeping the unbeaten streak alive was really nice to see. But that does end the episode, guys. So as always, a big thank you for watching the video. I really hope you have enjoyed it. If you have enjoyed today's episode of Club and Country, then please do leave a like. It's much appreciated, and of course it really does help my channel out. You don't have to leave a like if you don't want to, and I'll see you for the next episode of Club and Country very soon.